Okay. Are you aware of it?
No, sir, we didn't have any information about it.
Okay, so it was informed by other sections teacher that it will be conducted on this Thursday
Sir,
from 6
Thursday
p.m.
till 6:20 we have a class, sir, actually.
Huh?
Thursday till 6:20 we have a class, sir.
Which class?
We have, sir, digital communication, sir, by Debasis, sir.
Okay, it helps on the evening.
Yes, sir. Actually, it is from 5:20 to 6:10, sir. But sir extends it to 6:20 or 6:30, sir.
Okay, so
It's what fines,
then 7 p.m.
sir. 6:40 would it be fine, sir? Because from
Hmm.
6:40 to 7:10 it will complete.
Okay. So you just post in the message box in the team that Vishal sir has also posted this information
Yes,
that and also you reply on it and writing that we have a classes till 6 p.m. So better to take from 6:40. Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay. Only 25 have joined. 50% lesser. So is my slide visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. So the module third tells about some particular filter like Butterworth filter, Chebyshev filter, elliptic filters. Okay. So we'll discuss on it and let's see what is there in the third module, that filter function approximation transformation. That means suppose you are given low pass to high pass or high pass to low pass and analog to digital domain transformation, then some filter special type of filter like Butterworth, Chebyshev filter, elliptic filter, then frequency transformation in analog domain, frequency transformation in digital domain. Suppose you are given low pass filter, then how to convert it to high pass filter. Suppose you are given low pass high pass filter, how to convert it to low pass filter. Suppose you are given low pass filter, how to convert to band pass filter, or vice versa, or band stop filter. Okay. So there are certain methods. So now you see that filter function approximation, that suppose some magnitude in filter, what do we have, that the magnitude characteristics, that is plot of magnitude versus frequency. Okay. That is the magnitude characteristics, magnitude versus frequency. Sometimes it is called as frequency response. Okay. So we here deal with the subject signal processing, digital signal processing particularly. So the filters that will be dealt with, that is digital filters. Okay. So in digital domain, we use the variable frequency variable, which variable, that is omega. Okay. So and omega is related to the complex variable z, as z is equal to e to the power j omega. Okay. So, but we don't do it. We don't use the variable or filter function directly in Z domain. Rather, what we do, we get some approximate function of the filter characteristics in terms of in analog domain. Okay. In analog domain, the variable is s. So the filter function is represented by in terms of the parameter s, okay, where s is equal to simply j omega. Okay. So it is actually Laplace transform operator. So now when we talk about the analog filter, then we use the transfer function in terms of s. But when we talk about digital filter, okay, we use the frequency variable filter function variable, that is z, hz. So before designing the digital filter, we must design in analog filters. Okay? So hs first should be designed, then hs would be converted to hz with the relation between s and z. Okay? So we will see what type of relations is used between s and z. There are many ways to relate the two variables s and z. Some have some advantages, some have disadvantages. So we would see what type of advantages and disadvantages are there in those methods, and suitably we choose what relations between s and z would be applicable, okay, would be useful. But before that, we discuss on some characteristics of the filter. So as we all know that low pass filter, basically it is the reference filter. We can say that low frequency has gain and high frequency has loss, has high frequency as attenuation. So that's that type of characteristics is given there, that with filter function hs, okay, hs is equal to s is equal to j into omega, that is capital omega, okay, that is continuous frequency. S is equal to j capital omega, that is continuous frequency. And in terms of digital domain, okay, hz or z is equal to e to the power j omega, that omega is small, not capital. So it is digital frequency. Okay. So this z is equal to j omega, or simply we write h of e to the power j omega, or sometimes we write simply h of omega. Okay. So now let us see some response the characteristics of filter. Okay. So what if it is either analog or digital, whatever the case is, we x-axis is frequency, okay, that is capital omega or small omega, and y-axis is h j omega, where omega is capital for analog filter, and h of small omega, it is digital filters. And you see that there is actually let us focus on the one side of the spectrum. Okay. So where many parameters, many specifications are given in terms of band. Okay. So in the x-axis, we see that frequency range. Okay, frequency range is from 0 to omega p. Okay, 0 to omega p. So this defines the passband frequency, okay, 0 to omega p. Then another frequency after omega p, this is called cutoff frequency, that is omega c, where they have certain gains. Then another frequency at the end of the spectrum, that is omega s, that is called stop band frequency. And after that, the band is called stop band, and initially it is pass band. So the region between pass band and stop band is called transition band. Okay? So this transition band may be having slope small, may be slope larger, may be sharp or may not be sharp. Okay? So that depends on the order of the filters. So now you see that in the pass band, it is not uniform. It is gradually increasing. After that, it is decreasing. Okay? So this happens sometimes due to some effect that is called Gibbs phenomena, okay, or some desired characteristics that at the band edge, okay, there is some ripple, okay, at the edge of the band, okay, that is near about pass band frequency omega p, there may some be present. There some ripples may be present. So that is one kind of ripple is shown, okay, and maybe its magnitude considered as the maximum one, that is 1.0. Okay? 1.0. Let us say this is the maximum band magnitude. Okay? Then this is one side, that is for positive part of the frequency range. Then this is repeated in the negative parts of the frequency range also. So that is shaded. I have made it shaded, okay, because otherwise it would be prominent. Now I have made it very that thing that not very highlighted. Okay. So here, so it is a mirror image of the two of one parts. Now this is overall band, okay, and this has certain ripple. Okay, now apart from this specification, there are two more parameters. One is epsilon, another is lambda. Okay. So epsilon is what? It is a gain parameter, okay, at the passband frequency, that is equal to 1 by root over 1 plus epsilon square. Okay. This is the gain where the frequency is equal to the passband frequency omega p. After that, the cutoff frequency exists. In cutoff frequency, we know what is the gain. That is very known, that 70.7% of the maximum gain. So maximum gain is 1. So 1 by root 2 represents the 0.707 or 70.7%. So that is the cutoff frequency, gain at cutoff frequency. Then another gain exists at the stop band frequency, that is equal to root over 1 by root over 1 plus lambda square. Okay. So from there, the stop band starts. So this is the specification. Now another alternate specification also exists where the parameters are slightly different. Okay. So let us say the gain, okay, is average gain at the passband, in the passband frequency range is 1. Okay, this is 1 average gain. Now at zero frequency, the gain becomes 1 minus delta p. Okay, 1 minus delta p, or not zero frequency, Yes, this is actually not zero frequency. Zero frequency gain may be different. It is the gain at omega p. So p terms this p and p. Omega p, the gain is this 1 minus delta p, and the maximum gain is 1 plus delta p. Okay. 1 plus delta p. So this is the gain. Okay. So now similarly at omega c, okay, the gain is 1 by root 2, and at stop band frequency gain is delta s simply, whereas it was maybe 1 plus root 1 by root over 1 plus lambda square. So there may be a relation between delta p and epsilon, okay, because they are related to the gain in the pass band. So delta p and epsilon, and in stop band it is delta s and lambda square. Okay. So these are the relations, and you see that some ripples are present in the stop band. So that is this variation in the gain, because some oscillations are present always in the, these are called side lobes. You can say side lobes are always present in the stop band in any filter. So but their gain is small. Now these are the specifications are given that omega p is called passband frequency in radians, omega s is called stop band frequency in radians, omega c is 3 dB. 3 dB means 0.707. If you take 20 log of it, it is 0.707. Okay. Then epsilon is equal to parameter specifying allowable passband, lambda parameter specifying allowable stop band, delta p is passband error, and delta s is maximum allowable magnitude in stop band. These are the specifications. Now from the figure we can calculate the relations between them. Okay. How we can relate that 1 minus delta p, okay, is by divided by 1 plus delta p in both the representation is equal to 1 minus delta p represents 1 by 1 root over 1 plus epsilon square, and 1 plus delta p represents 1 maximum gain. So this is 1 and this is 1 by plus delta p. Okay. And this is the gain at omega p. This is 1 by root over 1 plus epsilon square, and this is 1 minus delta p, 1 plus delta p, and it is 1 minus delta p represents, yes, 1 by root over this thing, and 1 plus delta p represents 1. Then this way we can relate the epsilon and delta p. Okay, directly you can get it. Now what about the delta s and delta p? Okay, delta s is the stop band gain 1 by root over 1 plus lambda square, and delta p is this one, 1 plus delta p is actually 1. Similarly here, so we can find relation between del lambda is equal to, so if you know delta p and delta s, you can calculate lambda. So this is the relation between the parameters describing the filter response. Now, as it was told that to find the transfer function, okay, in Z domain, you have to get it in analog domain, that is in terms of S. Then once you get the transfer function in terms of S, using some relation between S and Z, you can convert the transfer function to digital to analog from analog to digital. So in terms of Z. So there is one method that is called bilinear transformation. Okay. What is it? It will be explained in the next module. But for the time being, you have to memorize this formula that S is equal to 2 by T 1 minus Z inverse divided by 1 plus Z inverse. So T is the time period, sampling frequency it will be given, and this is 1 minus Z inverse 1 plus Z inverse. Okay. So it is written that using the analog filter specifications, the transfer function of analog low pass filter is designed and it is transformed to digital filter using suitable transformation method like bilinear transformation. Okay. So all will be discussed in the next module. Bilinear transformation, then impulse invariance method, then matched jet transformation, and one more method is there. Okay, so there are 4 methods that we will study in the fourth module, that design of IIR filter. But from there it is actually the outcome, that what is the relation between S and Z. So now let us start with analog low pass filter design. Okay. Analog low pass filter design. So that because we have to design, suppose one filter you have to design in digital domain. It's so you first thing here, what is the first thing, that you have to know the specification, that what should be the pass band frequency, what should be the pass band gain, what should be the stop band frequency, what should be the stop band gain. So different parameters you have to know. Then you have to get the transfer function is S plane or S variable, HS you have to calculate, and then you convert it into digital. Okay, so after converting into digital in terms of HZ, then you can use any kinds of method that was discussed in previous module, that is direct from 1, direct from 2, cascade, parallel, lattice, whatever it is, ladder. So any form can be used, okay, though to design those filter in digital domain. In analog domain, you have to use the R and C, resistance and capacitance. The resistance and capacitance or any other inductance, okay, that is used in analog filter design, okay, or any active device like transistor or BJT, okay, with combinations of passive elements like resistance and capacitance. But when we design in digital domain or digital processor, you have to depend on some structures, okay, direct form structures. There are a lot of structures we have discussed. Direct form 1, direct form 2, lattice, parallel, ladder, whatever it is. Those would be used, okay. Any one of those would be basically used to implement one particular transfer function, HZ. But for what? For implementing one particular filter, either low pass or high pass or band pass or band reject. So how to get the transfer functions of HZ of those filters? Then you have to go back to the analog domain, HS. Okay. After getting the transfer function is HS, you have to convert it to HZ using the bilinear transformation method, that is using S is equal to this 2 by T1 minus Z square divided by 1 plus Z square. Okay. So this is the broad overview of the whole module. What we are going to do, we are going to design one particular filter in digital domain in terms of structures. in terms of discrete structures, discrete filter structures. So now let us discuss from the beginning that what is analog filter. So as we know that analog transformation, it is numerator by denominator. Okay. So there are in S domain, basically it is what? It is a polynomial. We have seen it is in Z domain, but in S domain the polynomial is same, numerator and denominators. Okay. With zeros and poles. Zeros and poles in the S domain. Okay. So here what is written that the most general form of analog filter transfer function is ns by ds, and ns is equal to summation I is equal to 0 ai into si divided by 1 plus I is equal to 1 to n bi into si. Okay. Where hs is Laplace transform of the impulse response ht, that is hs is equal to minus infinity to infinity h of t e to the power minus st dt, and n is greater than equal to m. Okay, that is order of denominator should be greater than or equal to m. Okay. So for a stable analog filter, the poles of hs lies in the left half of the s plane. Okay. So this is the stable, otherwise gain will be infinite. So this is the criteria. Okay. So this is the criteria in continuous domain, but in Z plane, what is the criteria of stability? In Z plane, what is the criteria of stability of the poles? Are you listening, anybody?
The poles and zeros, whether they are at left side or right side, that would be the criteria.
Poles and zeros, left or right? You are talking about S plane or Z plane? I am talking about S plane, Z plane.
Sir, in that then, if the unit circle is included or not?
Yes, yes, yes. Pole should be magnitude of the pole should be what? Less than 1. Okay, that is inside the unit circle, depending on the causality. If it is a causal, then inside the unit circle. If it is anti-causal, then it is outside the unit circle. Okay. So then only you can say it is the stable system. Pole should be within the unit circle in case of causal system, and pole should outside the unit circle in case of anti-causal system. This was discussed a lot in theory as well as lab. But when we talk about analog domain, the pole should be, that means S domain, the pole should be on the left half of the S plane. Okay. Then this is the criteria of the stable filter. Okay. Then there are two filters that we are going to discuss, that is Butterworth and Chebyshev. Okay. So they have different characteristics. Okay. These are the standard filter. Okay. They have some differences in their characteristics, and we will see what are the mathematical transfer functions they have. Okay. So Butterworth filter is what? It is actually just given by, okay, this transfer function, that is 1 by 1 plus omega by omega c to the power 2n whole to the power 1 by 2. This is the magnitude function of the Butterworth low pass filter. Okay. 1 by root over 1 plus omega by omega c whole to the power 2n root over half. where actually this is the magnitude. Okay, so actually it would have in the actual transfer function consist of will have the complex variable. So, but since it is magnitude, so that's why complex variable is not there. So here omega and omega c. So can anybody tell why it is capital omega, not small omega? Can anybody tell?
Sir, because we are using analog and analog use capital omega.
Yes, yes, yes. So first we have to design an analog filter that I earlier told. This is the method. So this is the formula for Butterworth low pass filter. Okay. Now you have to remember these functions. Okay. This function very particularly. Well, here it is 1 by 1 plus omega by omega c whole to the power 2n to root 1 by 2 square root. So n is the order of the filter and omega c is the cutoff frequency. Whatever be the case, omega c will be always cutoff frequency and it will be always mentioned. Okay. This omega c stands for cutoff, and this omega is the general variable. S is equal to j into this capital omega. So now next slide. Now you see that what effect is there in case if you change the order. So if the order of the filter n is equal to 1, okay, then it is a straight line. So gradually it is it is actually linear equation. Okay. So n is equal to 1. So this way, when frequency increases, the gain decreases linearly. But when n is equal to 2, the second graph slightly slope is changed. Then n is equal to 10. The more slope is higher, then n higher value of n is equal to 10, then it is much higher. But ideal characteristics is a rectangular shape. So what we understand that as the order n increases, it approaches to ideal characteristics. Okay. And you see that at omega is equal to omega c, gain is 0.7, 0.7. So actually this is the standard low pass filter characteristics. Here no ripple is there in the band edge. Ripple generally present due to the Gibbs phenomena. Okay, if you remember Gibbs phenomena, you can understand why ripple comes in the at the band edge. So now we derive the transfer function of a stable filter. Okay. So let us see the magnitude function, the magnitude square function. Okay. Now you square it, what will be there? At the denominator, the square root will vanish, okay, and it will simply becomes 1 by omega to the power 2n. And omega c we choose cutoff frequency as 1 radian per second. Okay, 1 radian per second. So this is the normalized frequency omega c. Okay, this is called normalized Butterworth filter. Okay, where normalized Butterworth filter. This is the main thing that here we represent is the normalized Butterworth filter. normalized Butterworth filter means omega c is equal to 1 radian per second. Okay. Then if you choose so, then we can write omega h of j omega whole square can be written as h of j omega into h of minus j omega. Okay. Because there are two transfer functions, okay, they are multiplied. So one is complex conjugate of other, okay, then generally we take the magnitude square characteristics. So you can write h j omega h of minus j omega. So or it is hs into h of minus s. So you can write as 1 by 1 plus s by j, because s is equal to j omega or omega is equal to s by j. Omega is equal to s by j. Okay, omega is equal to s by j here. So now j square. So it is j to the power 2n. So if you take 2 inside, so it will be j square is minus 1. So that means it is minus a square to the power n. Minus a square to the power n. So this relation tells that it has poles in left half S-plane as well as in right half S-plane. So we find the roots by making the denominator 0. Okay, so 1 plus minus a square to the power n is equal to 0. So now there are conditions that if order of the filter is either odd or even, that is n is odd or even. So we write it as if n is odd, say n is equal to 1. Okay, n is equal to 1. So s square is equal to 1. Okay, so n is 1 or n is equal to 2, then there is term j square. Okay, due to that this will remain, it is odd. So j terms j square, due to that it will see that it will be equal to, if n is odd, then it is s to the power, if yes, no, not j square, due to n, power of n, okay, and it is the power of minus a square. So minus 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 is equal to always minus. So it is s to the power 2n is equal to 1. So s to the power 2n is equal to 1 means 1 if you represent in terms of exponential function, that is e to the power j into 2 pi k, e to the power j into 2 pi k. So what the roots are, that is sk is equal to e to the power 2 will cancel out, okay, s to the power 2n, this 2 will cancel out, so it will become e to the power j pi k by n. Okay. K is integer. Now k, the values of k actually are from 1 to 2n, because roots are repeated in first in positive half of S-plane and negative half of S-plane. So for positive half, n number of roots, for say negative half, then again n number of roots. So that means it should be 2n number of roots. And this is the general values of formulas for root. That is sk is equal to e to the power j pi k by n. So 2n stands for hs and h of minus s. Then if n is even, what is the formula? So it's s to the power 2n is always positive. So now so s to the power 2n is minus 1. Minus 1 means e to the power j 2k minus 1 into pi. That is odd multiple of pi. The previous one was even multiple of pi. Okay. Integer multiple or 2 pi, previous one. So here roots are what? Sk is equal to e to the power j 2k minus 1, okay, into pi by 2n. Again for pi, k is equal to 1 to 2n. For example, one example is shown, okay, that for n is equal to 3, say order is equal to 3. So how many roots are there? Number of roots are 6. Okay. So because 2n, so S1 to S6. So how will write S1? S1 is e to the power j. So n is 6 means n is 3. So that means odd. So you choose this formula, e to the power j to j pi k by n, e to the power j pi k by n. So to the power j pi k by n. So k is equal to 1. So that means e to the power j pi by 3. So e to the power j pi by 3 means cos pi by 3 plus j sin pi by 3. So that means it is 0.5 plus j into 0.866. You see, this is the fraction. Okay, fractions comes in the pole. Okay, again, there is problem that is discussed in the previous module, that quantization error will appear. Okay, so now S2. S2 is e to the power j 2 pi by 3, to the power j 2 pi by 3 into cos 2 pi by 3 plus j sin 2 pi by 3. So it is minus 0.5 j plus this. Then similarly, so we calculate all these 6 poles. You will see if you plot on the this axis S plane you plot, they will lie over a circle, okay, with positive and negative part. So this is, so 3 poles in the right half S plane, 3 poles in the left half S plane. Now which poles to consider? Okay, which poles to consider? Can anybody tell? For stable filter, please tell which poles to consider for stable filter. There are 6 poles: S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. Which poles to consider? Ronak? Ronak Shah, are you there? Manavendra, are you there? So raise your hand. Are you listening or not? Please raise your hand. If you don't respond, it is bad, but please raise your hand, whosoever is listening. Four people, only 4 people I can see. Okay, so let us see that 3. So what is there? Main thing that to design a stable filter, you have to consider the poles of the lying on the left half of the S plane. Okay? So that means poles S2, S3, S4. these poles lies left half of the S plane. So we should consider these three poles. Okay. यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है S2, S3, S4 are the poles at left half plane. S1, S5, S6 are right half plane. So to ensure stability, considering only the poles that lie in the left half of the S plane, we can write the denominator of the transfer function Hs as this S plus 1 into, so one pole is at minus 1. You can see S3 is at minus 1. So S minus S1, that means S of minus 1 is S plus 1. And other two pole is at minus 0.5 plus J 0.866 and S minus 0.5 plus this. So here I have not, here I have mentioned that at the bottom line that how it is coming. That one pole is at minus 1, so it becomes S plus 1. Another is point minus of minus J minus of plus J 8.66, so it becomes S plus 0.8, and this is conjugate. So that's why it is coming this one. S plus 0.5 whole square into 0.866 square. Okay. So denominator of the transfer function, if you compute it, becomes S plus 1 into S square plus S plus 1. So that is the third order. That is the third order filter. Okay. Butterworth filter. Which filter? It is Butterworth filter. Okay. So therefore, the transfer function of third order Butterworth filter for cutoff frequency omega c is equal to 1 radian per second. Okay. So up to this, you just go through it. The next class we'll discuss about other parts. Okay. So have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for n is equal to what? Up to this, it is given, and I will upload this one. Okay. Fine. Now time is over. If you have anything to discuss, you can ask. Okay. Yes. Yes. Tell.
Sir, can you please upload the attendance, sir?
Okay. Upload. I have taken the attendance. Okay, I'll do it. In the next step, I'll do it. Okay. Then I'm closing now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.